What's going on, guys? This is Joe Tallarico, and you're listening to the Aha Moment podcast, where we dive deep into closing that mind-action gap of idea to execution and all the little nit and grit that's in between. On today's episode with AJ, we stress the importance of a support system to help hold you accountable even when those times you're feeling like a failure. We also get into just getting started. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect because it never will be. Get started and learn to adjust along the way. Check it out. All right, guys, we are here. I am with the one and only AJ Davis.
Hello.
How you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let people get familiar with who you are, what you do.
All right. So, again, I'm AJ Davis, and I want to first thank Joe for having me here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here talking with you, my friend.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
From the first time I met you, I knew you were just a really, really good dude, man. You have a great energy and spirit about you. So, for you to ask me to come on and be a part of your project is truly special, and I'm happy to be here, for real. So a little bit myself. I'm originally from Illinois and Kentucky. Kind of from both. I like to claim both. I grew up in the southern part of Illinois and the western part of Kentucky, where they border by the Mississippi River. So I'm from Metropolis, Illinois, which is the home of Superman. So I claim Superman very hard. It's a population of about 5,000 people. So you're not going to meet any other people that can claim Superman the way that I do. So, my Instagram is all Superman out. I have Superman tattoo on my back. For me, it represents home, it represents home and what I've come from. And I love it. So that's why I have that. So I grew up in Illinois, 1st through 8th grade. I went to school in Metropolis, Illinois. And then in high school, I went to high school in Kentucky while still living in Illinois. So if you live here in Los Angeles, it's equivalent from going to Burbank to West Hollywood, without the traffic. That's the drive.
Okay,
It's about 5 miles. My dad was the principal of my high school in Kentucky. So grade school in Illinois, and then I went to the high school where my dad was the principal at in Kentucky.
Which get in trouble a lot?
I've never been to detention.
Okay.
Ever.
I should hope not.
Ever.
Principal would not be happy about
I know.
that.
Even in early school, I don't know. I come from an era where we were still allowed to whoop. They were still allowed to whoop kids in school. Right? You too, right? No, maybe.
Of course.
I mean, at least we caught the end of that. You know what I mean? They kind of started doing away with it. But I remember my 4th grade teacher had a paddle called Rudolph, because it was a red pattern, right? So we called it either Rudolph or Big Red. So I remember kids getting pulled out of class, getting paddled, and then they come back to class, they're crying and sniffling. So I never but I was always bad. I just never got caught. I was an educated criminal.
Okay, you're smart about it. You're
smart
sly,
about it.
Map it out.
Yeah, you got to map it out. You got to have a plan, and you got to have a fall guy.
Of course. Awesome. So, what brought you out to LA and started your journey?
That's a great question, because I feel like I was more pulled here more than anything, But I went to school at the University of Kentucky, where I graduated from, and I started looking at law schools. So I was preparing to take the LSAT. And my girlfriend at the time, she was working for an agency in Kentucky, a little small agency in Kentucky. And she was getting me little modeling gigs here and there. And I was also doing music on the side, just for fun, I had a little group I was in, and we were just doing music for fun. So I was doing that while studying for the LSAT. And I started looking at a bunch of different colleges that I wanted to go to, law schools. And I was looking at Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine. I was really interested in, but I had never even been to LA or California.
Just
right?
winging it.
They were just good schools,
Yeah.
And I knew I really wanted to get out of Kentucky. So I started applying to these law schools, and I was working for Proactive at the time. I was working one of those booths in the middle of the mall, right, selling people skincare and applying makeup to women, and it's the worst thing. It was great, but it was terrible.
Oh man!
But it was a blessing because a position opened up in Thousand Oaks, California, and I was working in Lexington, and my district manager knew that I wanted to go to law school in LA. And so she was like, "Hey, this position opened up." It was like maybe a Monday. She was like, "This position opened up in California. If you want it, you can have it, but you need to be there by Monday, by the next Monday."
Oh wow! So there was a little bit of a timeline on
It was a timeline, yeah. It's like if you want it, you can take it, but if you take it, you got to go. And so I asked my girlfriend. I was like, "You want to move to California?" And she was like, "Let's go." And that's kind of how I got here. Acting wasn't something that was really in my mind at the time. It's something I gravitated toward later on. But that's what brought me here. And then I didn't end up going to law school. I kind of jumped around from job to job, doing different things. And I saw a group me acting class that I signed up for, and that's kind of what started it for me. Started my bug.
So before that, there was no initial when you were back in Lexington, oh, I want to go act, or this is something I'm interested in.
I knew how much I loved entertainment. I love entertaining. I've been performing in church since I was a little kid. I was in a fraternity where we do step shows. I was in a little a cappella group, on campus. And then I was in my music group, Four of a Kind, and we were performing in shows and doing big shows on campus. So I loved performing, but it was always in groups and with groups. I never wanted to be a solo artist. I enjoyed the camaraderie of getting on stage with people. And my girlfriend started getting me these little modeling gigs, and I hated it. I hated modeling.
So what's wrong with modeling versus just doing the acting?
I wouldn't say anything is wrong with modeling. It's just not for me. Stand there and be cute and be sexy and pose for the camera and turn this way and turn that way and hold this pose and hold that ab flexed and this bicep pulled, and it's I don't like it.
It's very forced compared to there's a little more freedom in
for
acting.
me. For acting, there's a lot of there's a lot of character work that goes into it. It's the studying of human life. It's the study of human behavior. That's how you adapt a character. For modeling, it wasn't that for me. Now listen, if GQ wants to call me up and hey, we need you on the cover of GQ, I'm gonna do it. Of course. But to pursue it, and as hard of a career as it is, it just wasn't something that I ever wanted to pursue. And then she got me this audition for this movie. As maybe it was a student film movie, but to me it was a movie. It was my first audition I ever had. And first audition I ever had, I get a call back, and I didn't book it. And I was crushed. How could they not know how dope I am?
The first rejection for an audition's got to be one of the hardest because you're not used to what's about to come. The rejections that inevitably comes when you're trying to become an actor and go on audition after audition.
Yeah, the first one, and especially because the first 2 or 3 modeling auditions I got. So I was 3 for 3 going into this thing.
You had a hot streak.
Yeah, I had a hot streak. I'm all people need to do is see me, and I got it.
And you had 4 of a kind.
Yeah, 4 of a kind beforehand. Yeah, we was hot. I'm telling you, I'm yo, I got this. I'm I don't even really need to practice the lines. I'm just gonna look at it one time and just swag it out. That's what I thought.
Nice.
And I didn't book it, and I was crushed.
Okay. So one of the things I'm trying to discover when doing this podcast is seeing so you made the decision to become an actor, and I'm sure you don't have to, anyone listening, you don't have to be an actor to know that there's a lot of rejection, there's a lot of work. It's not like other jobs where you're getting a base pay while you continue to work yourself up. There's definitely a big struggle involved, which is why most people don't go for it. The ones who do a lot don't make it. So what are character traits you had as a kid or something you had to develop along the way that helps you during those times where you're just man, either people are telling you, why are you still doing this, or you deciding whether you should continue or not?
I think the number one thing is I'm extremely blessed to have a great support system, man.
That's huge.
From my parents on up, I have a very close knitted family. And my mom and dad have always supported me, in this and other things, really whatever I wanted to do. But with my parents, it was always it would see it through. You know,
No matter what you do,
no
I
matter
don't care what it is, but go all the way with it.
Go all the way with it.
Okay.
You know, if you're gonna play soccer this season, then you're gonna play soccer all season. You know, we're not quitting in the middle of the season because you're not getting any playing time. You know, if you want to do swimming, fine, you can do swimming, but you're swimming all season. You know, I'm not buying you trunks and all this stuff for you to quit during the season. Like, and so that's kind of the mentality that I've taken on. And whenever you don't feel that pressure of your support system trying to push you out of what you want to do or what you believe in or what you're trying to do, it makes things a lot easier, a lot balanced. You know, like I can call my mom or dad after rough auditions, or even my brothers or cousins or anybody. You know, I have a ton of people that I can reach out to when times are like really, really low, and they're not gonna try to direct me in a different direction. You know, they're gonna listen to what's going on. They're gonna, tell me how they relate, if they relate, and then they're gonna push me to keep moving forward and not to quit. And for me, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just having people there that want to lift you up, that want to pick you up when you fall down and help push you across the finish line if they can, you know?
I think that's huge. There's a couple things you touched on there. I was actually listening to an interview with Michael Strahan, football player. He said his parents were the same exact way. They let him do whatever he wanted to do, but he had to see it through.
Yeah.
That's huge. They were all about me trying whatever I wanted, but there was definitely like a certain point where it's like, if you find this isn't for you, then it's not for you. So I think that alone, especially as a kid who we're so impressionable as kids trying to figure out like, how am I supposed to behave? I really believe that one of the keys to success is the behavior changes you decide to have to go for your goals, whether or not you're going to get them. If you say, I'm someone who follows through on something, that already, in my opinion, separates you from half your competition, because other people are going to think, I didn't do good on this one. Slowly, I'm going to end up tapering off and give up. With that, the fact that you're just like, I have to follow through no matter what. And on top of that, the second point is, if you do like fail or struggle, the other part is, who can you vent to? Who can you go to? So to have your parents, the most important, the family, the most important foundation to have your back all the way through, I think that's huge. And that's in general, sports systems is something, if you're trying to achieve any goal, that's what you need to have in place, whether it's your friends, family, find someone, other people who are doing whatever you're pursuing. Maybe it's other actors or other accountants, whatever it is you're trying to do, but having that support system.
Yeah. And that's not anything that I had any control over. That's just a situation that I was blessed to be in, and for anybody that's not in that situation, then, it's just a matter of finding people and putting people around you that are, and not continuing to go to people that are trying to deter you from what your goals are, or, or maybe looking down upon what you're trying to do. It's just finding that for you, finding that support system wherever it is,
I completely agree. I just think about, even in my life, like in college, I could have went a totally different route than the fitness route that I'm in now. I also pledged a fraternity, and oh man, like I had a lot of fun, but if I didn't escape into fitness and competing, let me put it this way. One of the kids in my pledge class, his GPA at one point, I think was like a 0.9.
Wow.
And it was just like drugs, partying. Like I could have easily went down a different route, because you are the average of the 5 friends you hang out with, or family members. Like you were saying, you need to find those people. If I'm around other people who are hustling, like take us, for example, if I'm around you, you're acting, you're going to be going on auditions. That motivates me to be like, I can't slack off on this podcast. I got to keep kicking butt, keep doing this. Whereas if I hung out with a certain other group of people, it could have been like, oh, take a break from that. Let's go party. Let's go do this instead. So that balance is huge.
Absolutely.
Who is someone anywhere at any point in your life that has influenced you that might not even know it? Like, who played that crucial role, if any, that, helped you be who you are today?
I have so many. Like,
Okay.
I have
That's
a lot.
good,
I have so many. But the one that I'll talk about today, because I don't want to talk your ear off, is a cousin of mine. His name is George Wilson, and he is a retired NFL player.
Nice.
Right? He played for Detroit for a while, then he played for Buffalo for about 5 years, and then he finished his career in Tennessee. So he played about 13 years in the NFL, which is difficult. It's hard enough to get 1 or 2 years, but to be in there that long is just it's unheard of.
Longevity is crazy.
It's longevity in the NFL is crazy, and when I would see him on TV, we're very close, very close, and he's done a lot for me in the aspects of like just showing me the world, traveling. We've done a lot of traveling together, getting out of your comfort zone, seeing different things, experiencing different things, meeting different people, all that stuff like that. But
what's the age gap?
About 7 years.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Enough where he might have gained some experience along the way you haven't seen yet.
Absolutely. And just living that lifestyle, is definitely it's an experience in itself, and to see that and to know all the distractions that have come his way, but to see him stay focused and continue to, be excellent at what he does year after year was amazing to me, because anybody that knows him or looks at his scouting stuff is he wasn't the fastest, he didn't jump the highest, he wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the biggest, anything like that. But it was his drive and his determination and his willingness to just not lose or not quit that put him over the competition for all those people that did jump higher and were stronger and were faster, and just watching him and be like, okay, we came from the same place, we ate off the same plate, we swung on the same swings, so if he can do it, why can't I? And that was an attitude that I adopted, when I really started focusing in on this acting thing, because where I'm from, like, nobody thinks you can go to Hollywood and be an actor, But when you see somebody else at the same time, nobody thinks that a town of 26,000 people, somebody's going to be a professional NFL player either, And when you see somebody do it, it's like, okay, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And it's different from seeing somebody on TV that you don't know. It's easy to say, oh, Michael Jordan can do it, I can do it, but you don't see Michael Jordan, you don't see what he's doing and the work that goes in there. But when it's somebody that you physically know and you can talk to on the phone, it changed, for me at least, it changed my whole mindset on how I viewed going after whatever it is that you're going after.
This is starting to make, as someone who knows you and is learning more about you, this is making so much more sense to me. So I've known AJ a couple of years now, and he's got a certain confidence, a swag, if you will, that I wish I had, man.
You got it, Joe. It's just yours.
My own version. But he knows how to own a room, all right? He may be a part of 4 of a kind, but he's one of a kind. Yeah. But it makes sense because, again, between having him that you learn from him with that 7-year difference and him being a football player from a small town, that if he can do it, why can't I? To have, even if you took away all the family stuff you just said, having just that if this person can do it, I can do it, Now add on top of that from your parents follow through and everything you have, and and all these people got your back no matter what. Yeah. That is just like the sweetest recipe for success right there.
It's a blessing, man. It's just a blessing. It's just really like, it's nothing that I've done, but at the same time, it's recognizing it too, because there are a lot of other people that have, people that at least some family members of mine I know that haven't taken advantage of that the same way that I have.
What would your advice be for someone if they're listening in and they're like, oh, this guy's life sounds so easy, then he's got this support system, he's got all that. What would you say to someone who either, you kind of touched on it before, who either doesn't have it, or like you said, maybe they do have it, they don't know what to look for, they haven't seen the signs? It's
around you. It's around you. Like you said, you hang out with 5 people that have 0.9 GPAs, you're going to be the 6th person with a 0.9 GPA. And there's so many people out there that want to help you, along the way. I think it's a matter of just finding what it is that you're willing to fight for. And then when you find what it is that you're willing to fight for, you find other people that, have that same mindset, because the mindset is the same. It doesn't matter what the industry is. The mindset is the same of going to get it. And so you're going to have that in common with somebody. And that's what I would advise them to do, is just to first find what it is that they want, set that goal of like, I'm going to get it no matter what. And then you'll find people along the way. It's like, I don't know, I listen to a lot of rap music. There's on Drake's new album, he's got this song called Glow, featuring Kanye West. You know that song? Yeah. And that's what it is. Like, when you start going after something, you put your mind to something, you have that glow, and people they see it on you, they feel it on you. You know, they want to be around you now, and so that's how people might ask, like, well, how do I find somebody, you know, that I can talk to? How do I find somebody that has the same drive as me? How do I find somebody that's gonna be encouraging to me? Is you start with your own stuff. And then once you start with your own stuff, people will attract to you because it's just like they sense it on you. This person is driven. This person is determined. I want to help them, or I want to be around them, and that's the way that I look at it.
I love that. I love that answer. Even like you were just telling me when I said, "Oh, I wish I had your swag." Is I do have it, and it's all about this is I think especially for actors or anyone, whatever it is you're trying to do. Especially in this social media age, what's the first thing we're going to do? Compare ourselves to others, especially early on, which is probably the worst time to compare yourself to other people.
Yeah.
You're only going to see the highlight reel. And like you said, I've got to figure out, and it's something I do, figure out what's my unique confidence. Like, what am I comfortable with? What's my style? Because we're going to have different styles, and people have to learn to appreciate that. And the thing that's going to separate you from the rest is you owning that style that's you. Now, that's not being cocky. There's a difference between being cocky and knowing who you are and being comfortable with yourself.
Absolutely.
Finding that.
Yeah. You have to have your own. You have to find you. I think more than anything, like, acting has helped me find me more than anything. Like, you really have to find, like, and I used to hear that all the time, like, you have to know who you are before you can be somebody else. You know, you have to be able to love yourself before you can love somebody else, type of thing like that, you know. But that's true. Like, you have to understand who you are, figure out what it is that you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with. You work on your weaknesses and you sharpen your strengths, you know.
I completely agree. And it's something we're always going to continue to keep learning about ourselves. I'll be the first to admit I'm still trying to figure that out for myself.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, so.
Me every day. Just when I think I got it figured out, something hits me in the face that lets me know I do not.
God, doesn't it always? And that's the big thing is you have to accept that. You have to know that, be comfortable with who you are, know it's an ongoing journey, but be willing to, like, let yourself grow and be open to new things, new people coming your way and getting rid of the toxic ones or whatever's not working out of it.
Yeah.
So that's huge. When it comes to setting goals, how do you personally set them? So, like, for getting into acting in terms of making sure you have progress, we could look at, like, whether it's year goals versus weekly goals. How do you kind of get your mind right for the week to know that, like, I'm doing better than the week before?
That's a great question. I have a vision board. You know, I've created a vision board that I have the goals that I want to create for the year. And it's quite a few, from ones that are really, really small to ones that are, to me, seem out of reach right now, you know? And so that's what I'll do. I'll create a vision board. I'll look at it every day, you know, to know, okay, what am I doing to get where I need to be? What am I doing, you know, that's lacking behind? What have I accomplished that that's on here, marking all that stuff off, and just making sure that I'm always doing something every day that is leading to what I want, you know? And I think one thing that, like, really, really, really changed me was that I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, I had a vision board for the year, and I had completed everything on my vision board in like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What attributed to that? Did you just have momentum? How did that happen so fast?
Man, I'm a man of faith, so I'm gonna just say it was God, man. Like, it was a lot of it was a lot of small things that I did that finally paid off. You know what I mean? It was things that I had done a year ago or a year and a half ago, you know, that finally, like, it all just kind of came in fruition at the same time for me. But what it did for me, it didn't excite me. What it made me think was that, wow, AJ, like, you're dreaming too small. You know, because 6 months ago, these things that I wrote on this board seemed impossible to me, and I got them in 6 months. And it's like, okay, well, you're not thinking big enough. You're not thinking big enough. You're not making your goals big enough. You're making your goals too easy on yourself. Like, you got to think way outside the box. Like, I couldn't see this in a million years happening. That's what you have to put on your board, because that's what you have to go for. That's what's gonna put you where you need to be. You know.
I definitely agree with that. There's a quote, I think Jim Carrey's the one that said it. He said it at a graduation speech when talking about his dad trying to be an actor and how he didn't make it because he played it safe. And his thing was talking about how, I think he might have even been quoting someone else, but it was about, it's not that we aim high and miss, it's that we aim small and hit our target, which is so true. How often for every one of you that's going out and trying to be an actor and doing something that, inspiring, there's someone else that says, oh, I wish I went to be an actor and instead settled for a 9-to-5 job, and now they're left wishing. And it takes just as much effort to succeed at a half-assed job as it is to do one that excites you. So why not go for the one that excites you, is the way I see it.
I worked a 9-to-5, man, and I have nothing against it. I'm not talking bad about it. Like, listen, when I had consistent health care, like, that was the greatest time of my life, and I did not appreciate it enough. You know what I mean?
Consistency, like a paycheck and benefits.
Consistent paycheck, benefits, like, oh man, like that end of it was fantastic. But the 9-to-5 thing, like, it wasn't for me. Like, I wasn't happy with it. But then once I realized, like, wow, I'm spending like 50 hours a week here, 100 hours every 2 weeks, 120 hours every 2 weeks. I'm here. If I put that time into myself, wow.
Exactly.
Like, wow, like what can I accomplish if instead of putting 120 hours into this company, if I put 120 hours into me,
into your own company,
into my own company, into myself, into what I want to do, into my dreams and my passions, like that, and that's what really deterred me from there. But anybody that's working a 9-to-5, if you love it and it's your passion, I think just go for it with that same mindset of giving it everything that you got. I don't have anything against it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It just not for me.
Not your style. I think that's most people here in LA.
Yeah, it's just not for me, man.
Yeah, no, nothing. Yeah, and to clarify on that, I didn't mean anything against 9-to-5 too. If that's truly what you set out to do, it's to have that 9-to-5, something steady, have a family, go for it. Like he said, whatever you decide to do, you have to fully commit and own to that and be the best version of yourself within that you can be. But if you find yourself doing that because your parents told you to, or someone told you, you got to go to college, you got to get a job, you got to do this, like you're just following the steps, you might want to rethink. And that's what this is for, is to show people how you can shake it up and what kind of mindset, who you need to have around you to initiate that.
I think that also goes back to your goals. It's like, what are your goals in life? If your goals in life is to have a family and to have a house, and that's what it is, that's what makes you happy, then a 9-to-5 might be the absolute best situation for you. You can cover your house, you can cover your insurance, you can cover your kids' insurance. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is laid out. And if that's somebody's dream, then go for it. Like, be whatever it is, like do whatever work it is that you need to do to get that dream. But if that's not your dream, if your dream is something else, then it's a matter of, okay, what do I need to do to get there, and how do I need to do that? And then from there, make the decisions of whatever it is that you want. And I think it's also just a matter of trying out a bunch of different things and seeing what works and what doesn't work for you, and not being afraid to leave it when it's time.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's something about the entertainment industry that they didn't teach you when you were heading out here? What is something that maybe you had to learn the hard way that you think is important for anyone trying to become an actor right now?
Everything. I knew nothing when I came out here. Nothing about the entertainment industry. Like, nothing. Nothing. I didn't know how to get an agent. I didn't know what a manager was. I didn't know anything about co-star roles or guest star roles or commercials. I didn't know anything. So it was all brand new to me. But I would say the number one thing that I've learned, and that I would like for anybody else that wants to get in this career to know, is that there's no pathway to it. There's no trail, right? Like, when I was working at Wells Fargo, which is where I work my 9-to-5, there was a pathway to get to where you wanted to be. You want to be a business banker? Cool. You need to take these steps, this steps, and this steps, right? You want to be the manager of the branch? Cool. You need to take this steps, this steps, this steps. You want to be an advisor, or you want to be in the housing department, or you want to be a service manager. Whatever it is, there was a pathway that was laid out for you. Takes this steps, this steps, this step, and eventually you'll get to where you want to go. There's no steps here, Where are the steps? Like, I think, and that's the hardest part, is just is you really do figure it out along the way, and it's a matter of trying things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and then just reading everything, man. Like I think that's one of the biggest things that helped me. There's a book called Self-Management for Actors by Bonnie Gillespie that is really fantastic. And it goes through like from the first day you arrived to LA to reaching superstardom, you know? And it's not a trail, it's not a pathway, but it's just an education of this is how things work here. This is how people have made it. These are some things that you can try, right? In order to this will make you not look stupid in the room because these are the procedures that you do, right?
Basic etiquette.
Yeah, basic etiquette that you don't know because you just don't know. And so I would say that's the hardest thing. It's just there's no point A to point Z, you know, in this industry, as far as I know. If anybody knows it, please pass it on to me. But it's like from A to D to F to X,
Circle
back to
around.
A.
Go to number 3.
Stuck on A for 9 months.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. Couple things. When I first moved out here, I was doing stand-up, and I figured, let me try the acting thing. I self-submitted. And the first part, I thought it was like, just submit to everything, do whatever. So there was this part for like a gay role, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go for it. And I submitted for it, I'm doing it. And the first thing they asked was like, are you gay or no? And I guess they just picked up like, clearly I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. And it just turned from like, oh, okay, this is an audition to just the most awkward experience of my life. They were just confused straight up. Luckily, I think one girl felt bad, and she was like, no, I enjoyed his performance. It was fine. And I just walked away. I was like, oh, so I guess this isn't how Hollywood works.
Yeah, man.
But the other one, talking about no path, I have a lot of friends in the fitness industry. That's what I studied in college, just between the YouTube people and everything else. And when I look at all of them, it is so many different. I used to think, so the route a lot of people think is, oh, if I want to be big in fitness, I got to be a bodybuilder. I got to win all these shows first place because then they'll see me. Then I'll get the cover magazines. Then I'll book stuff. But especially with social media, I have so many friends that literally they've done a couple shows. They haven't won that. They've had people with better bodies than them, but whether their charisma was better or they just started a YouTube channel, they're doing way better than anyone else that's trying to do that conventional route. Not to say that route doesn't work. It's just that it really opened my eyes to like, oh, you don't have to just compete to do this, to do that, to do that. There's so many other ways you can do it. So it's really cool to see that, like, I would say the best thing to do is you got to know what field you want to get into. So let's say acting or fitness. And you just got to try and put your hands, like you said, gain as many skills as you can. Figure out all the different little niches within that, because it's that conglomerate of all those skill sets that's going to help you figure out what your specific niche is based on your personality and what you've learned over the years.
And just jump in the water, man.
Yeah.
Just fuck it. Jump in the water. Yeah, just don't be scared. Like, who cares if you look stupid? You know, like, who cares if you fail? You're going to fail many times, you know, and that's the only way to, like, you know, it's like failing, and it still hurts me today, you know, like when I get through out for things that I want or don't want or things aren't going well. Of course, you're going to feel that way, but to me, it's like having a great workout session and the soreness comes the next day. You're going to have that soreness. But that soreness means things are working. You know, it means things are heading in the right direction. There's a light at the end of that soreness. You hate it because you can't walk down the steps, right? Hate it because you can't roll out of bed. You hate it because you can't lift your arms, but you know there's a purpose to it. And I think that's the same way. Like, you find something that you think you want to do, or you find a career that's interesting to you, just jump into it. Just go. Just jump in the deep end and you'll swim. You know, you'll float. You believe it or not, like, you'll start swimming. And I think that's just the way to do it. That's what makes sense in my head.
I think that's huge. Yeah. A lot of people that do have these bigger aspirations in their mind and end up settling for less or whatever, you know, their definition of that is, I think that's what it is. They're scared to take that jump. They're afraid, oh, well, what if I fail? Or hold on, let me wait till I get this perfect. I'm guilty of that. I've had so many plans where I'm like, I need this to be exactly perfect. Like that, nothing's ever going to be perfect.
No, it's never.
It's the 80-20 rule. Like, get 80% of it ready and then just go.
And then just go, and the rest will work itself out, man. It's crazy how mountains move when you start, like, really putting your energy and your focus and your dedication into something, you know? And don't be scared to, like, I feel like sometimes people also think, like, okay, if I dedicate 2 years in this and it doesn't work, then I've wasted 2 years. Like, no, you've gained a skill. Congratulations.
Exactly.
You know, and now you can go gain another skill somewhere else. And then eventually, somewhere down the line, all those skills that you got, it's going to work for something later on.
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely a learning how to look at quote unquote failure. You know, I think that's one of the problems with schooling today's or certain parenting styles. They teach failure as a bad thing. No, failure, when you're doing a research experiment, you look at scientists and they do experiments, or if you remember during your chemistry classes, when you did your reports, if something didn't go right, it wasn't, oh, this whole thing was a failure, I'm never doing it again. No, it's you look at what went right, what went wrong, what could we do next time? You look at the silver linings of everything. All right, the 2 years, maybe it didn't work out, but there was something to be learned there. You can't tell me you didn't learn a skill or something that you can carry with you forward, and you need to do that.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the mindset you need to have or things you do to move forward on those days that like you said, you had one period where 6 months you got your vision board set, but what about the days where it's like, man, this is taking way longer than I had originally planned it out and it's making me feel weary?
I'm going through that right now.
Okay.
Like right this second.
We got him in the mix.
Got me in the mix, man. Like right this second. I had a couple of really big auditions that I needed to help really push my career in the direction that it needs to go, you know, like it, and one of them went really well and I just didn't get it, and the other one went really bad, and the one that went really bad, it was like the biggest one that I really needed to go well, you know. And I worked my ass off on this thing, and I don't know why, like I couldn't tell you why to this day it went the way that it went. It just did. And it really stopped me in my tracks for a while, because it's like, damn, like I can't get through this door, and I can't get to that next door that I want to get through until I can open up this one that's right in front of me. And I've been trying to open up this one that's right in front of me for a long time. And I don't know, man. It's just like, I feel like I've set my mind to this. This is what I'm going to do. And nothing's going to stop me from that. And so I always know that in the back of my head, you know, like even whenever, like, you know, I tell my friends, like, on my people, like, and this is the truth, like, I quit twice a month, you know, like twice a month. I'm like, fuck this acting shit, and I hate this. Like, it's some bullshit. Everybody I know is on TV and I'm not on TV. Like, I don't understand. Like, all my money is going here. Like, all my time is going here. I left my family for this, you know, like, I quit. And then I'll get some donuts, and I love some donuts. They make me happy. And I go to sleep on it, and I wake up in the next morning and I go back to work. That's, you know, and I think that's, if that's the question, if the question is, what do you do to get through that rough time when you really feel like, you know, it's not working, it's to go back to work. It's just to get back to work, man.
Just keep grinding.
Just keep grinding. Just go back to work. Just keep working. That has to, you know, and I can't tell you if that's the key, because I'm not where I want to be right now in my career. I have to keep you posted on that. But as far as what I feel like it's just going back to work, man. It's just putting the bootstraps back on, putting your gloves back on, and just going back to work. And, you know, if you love what you do, or you really appreciate what you do, then you'll find something in that. You know, my brother was telling me the other day, I was talking to my younger brother. My younger brother gives me like crazy advice. It's crazy. I love that guy. But I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, "What's up, bro?" I was like, "What's up, bro? What's good?" He's like, "Man, you been in a slump for a little while now. Like, what's going on?" I was like, "I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like I'm swimming against the current right now. Like," I was like, you know, every stroke I take, I'm swimming in place. He was like, "Yeah, fuck that. Like, I'm not trying to hear that right now." He's like, "Listen," he's like, "You failed before, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You failed many auditions." I was like, "Yeah." "You've had bad ones before." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "All right. Did any of them hurt worse than the other one?" I was like, "They kind of hurt the same." He's like, "Exactly. They hurt the same. You felt this way before, and you've got up before, you know." And he's like, "You've been at your lowest point. You know, you've been as low as it can get in this industry, you've been there. So you know what that feels like. And you know what it feels like to rise above that, to be where you are now. And he was like, just don't be scared to fall back down to where you was at, because you'll get back to where you are. All right, I'll talk to you later, man. like that's my little brother, And I hung up the phone and I was like, man, he's right. He's like, he's right. He's right. He's right. Like, the failure does feel the same. It is the same type of hurt. And it's a hurt that I have experienced before. It's like heartbreaker, love or whatever. Like, just because you get your heart broken one time, that doesn't mean you never try to fall in love again. You just have to be willing to risk your heart to somebody, and that's what I've done. I've risked my heart to this acting industry, and I'm gonna make it pay off. And I think that's just how you fight through it, man.
Your younger brother's like a Mr. Miyagi.
Yo, he's crazy.
She's so crazy. I don't have any younger brothers, but if I had a younger brother give me sage advice like that, I just picture him in like a forest, maybe like a Yoda hut. He's telling you, follow your dreams. Yeah. Fill you have.
Yeah, it's for his own personal gain.
We'll follow up to that.
Yeah, he does for his own personal gain, man. He's like, yo, man, I need to get out to LA. I'm trying to, walk around with my shirt off and all this. And, but you killing it for me right now because you taking too long.
Hurry up.
Hurry up.
That's the cliff notes of that nice, inspiring speech.
Yeah. Hurry up.
Nice. What are some habits that you see in people that you think are really holding them back from achieving whatever it is they're trying to achieve?
Wow. I think it's something that we mentioned earlier. Was one of the things, and that's the waiting until tomorrow to get started. That this waiting until tomorrow to get started is, I'll do it when it's right. I'll do it when it's ready. I'll do it when the time is ready. I'll do it when my money is stronger. I'll do it when I have a better support group. I'll do it when I'm not sick. I'll do it when it's not raining. I'll do it when I have a car. Like whatever the case may be. I think that's one of the biggest things that keeps people from going after whatever it is that they want. And then something else would be a fear of not getting what it is that they're going for, and I think that's major on all accounts. It's like, who wants to think that you'll try your hardest at something, you'll give it every single thing that you got, and it won't be enough. You won't make it. You won't reach the finish line. And I mean, that's a terrifying thought. Like, everybody wants to think that they're gonna have that happy ending, but a thought of it is, what if I don't? And what if I waste all this time and effort into putting into something and not reaching it? And I think it's just a mindset change of, knowing that if you put in your true effort, like really, really, like, look at yourself and say, am I really working as hard as I can? Am I really working as hard as I can? Am I really giving everything that I have towards this? And if you are, then you won't fail. You won't.
Nice. That kind of leads me into what I was going to follow up with, which is, what is something other people find uncomfortable that's easy for you to do? Would you say it's what you kind of just said on just getting started? Is there something else you find?
I would say it's getting back up. Just getting back up after you've been knocked down.
Like your brother said,
like,
man,
yeah,
it all feels the same.
It all feels the same, man. Just getting back up after you've been knocked down. I think that's one of the hardest things to do, and that's one of the things that I like really pride myself on, is that, like, I know when I'm down, and I know, like, I never think I'm down, I gotta quit. I always think I'm down, I gotta get up. I gotta find my mouthpiece. Somebody knock my mouthpiece out my mouth. I'm sprawled out the ring. Okay, I gotta get up. Before the 10 count, I gotta get up. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me, that people might not, they get knocked down and then they're out. They leave.
Nice. I completely agree with that. It's just that resiliency. Just like those times you're feeling down, remembering this isn't the worst. It's going to happen again, but that's okay because what I'm doing right now that I might be failing at excites me enough that it's worth it for me to keep going. I love doing this so much, or I know this is just a speed bump and I'm going to learn something from this failure that's going to help me keep going. So I find that to be huge.
Yeah, and I think also is looking at other people's success. Don't get caught up looking at other people's success and what other people are doing, because you have no idea like what they did or what they had to do to either get what they have, or anything, what somebody else has or what was going through. Like, you can use it as a source of motivation. Somebody that you admire, or somebody that, if they can do this, I can do it too, to work harder, but to never compare yourself to that. And that's tough, man. Even for me, I have great friends that are doing amazing things, and it's hard sometimes to not look at them, on whatever Monday night on Walking Dead or whatever, and be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, we in acting class together. I know I can go toe for toe for him. Like, how is he there and I'm not? Like, it's easy to get into that mindset, and so it's just a matter of staying out of it, and that's just talking to yourself and mentally being strong.
Yeah, for sure. There's always more to that story. Instagram,
always.
Facebook,
Yeah.
you always see the highlight reel.
Yeah. That's why I don't really love Instagram too much, but I have to be on there. But it just I don't have anything against Instagram. It hurts me that people think, especially younger people, even older people, whatever. It just hurts me to think that people take everything they see on Instagram, to the heart as face value. When there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there, and you do whatever you have to do to reach your, people making a lot of money off social media, off their followers and stuff. So I would never knock that or take that away, but it's a matter of just understanding that it's all entertainment. It's all entertainment.
Yeah, and that's almost shortcutting them in a way, because a lot of those young guys see them making money and they think, oh, this person can just take pictures and they have a huge following, they're getting paid for it. I should be able to get that. And that's where I feel like that entitlement comes from a little bit, where it's again, you can't compare yourself to that. You can't just expect, oh, I can take the same kind of pictures. Why am I not getting paid?
Yeah.
If you're going to focus all your energy on that, you're not going to get anywhere. You just got to figure out what you need to do whatever it is you want to do, and follow that and forget about everyone else.
And again, and you're just seeing somebody's end results. You're not seeing what it took for them to get there, to have that, to take those pictures, or whatever it is that it is. You're not seeing that. You're just seeing the end results, like microwave results. So
nice. Okay. Final question.
Oh shoot!
I call it kind of the mind action gap. We were touching on it a lot actually throughout this whole thing, and it's so, like we were saying, you have it in your mind like, I want to be an actor, but then there's that gap between I want to be an actor, I want to be all the talk, I want to, versus where's your purpose? Where's your actual follow through? What are you actually doing to initiate this? Let's say right now there's one listener, two listeners that's like, man, I just listened to AJ talk. Like, I want to do this. I've had acting on the back burner right now. What's like one thing actionable step they could take right now to close that mind action gap and earn theirs in terms of going after what they want?
Wow, that's a very great and a loaded question. Give it to me one more time. I just want to make sure I heard it right.
Yes, I'll give the short.
All right.
What's one actionable step that someone wanting to be an actor, or I guess whatever it is they're trying to pursue that's holding them back, that they can do right now, whether it's a behavior change, an actual action step, what can they do right now to get off their ass basically and take some initiative?
If it's acting, then I say get into class. That's training, learning about the craft, training, understanding what technique works best for you. Is it imagination? Is it Meisner? Whatever it is, finding what works for you. And the only way to do that, as far as I know, is to get into class and learn. Just educate yourself on the craft. And I think that goes with anything. If it's bodybuilding, then start educating yourself on bodybuilding. Start educating yourself on food and nutrition, things like that. Pick up a book. on that. Just start gearing your mind to prepare for that. Now, for me, I say class because like that's a little different than sitting at home and reading. It's actively doing. You pay money to go somewhere to learn to sit for 3 hours, 2 or 3 times a week. Accountability, exactly. There's accountability there. So yeah, I mean that's what I would say. I think also for myself, I will find myself like looking at my board or whatever and being like, okay, I'm not here. Why? Why am I not here? Like it's been a year now and I still haven't gotten this. Why? Is it just because it's not my time yet? Like, is that the reason why? Or is it because there's something I'm not doing or there's something that I'm missing that I'm not allowing myself to get there? And again, in me, it just comes back down to the work, man. I think if you put the work in and you grind for it and you're studying and you're learning and you're educating yourself, and then the rest of that will come. It's like you got to be good, right? Like, like you got to be good. Yeah, you got to be good, right? You got to be good. Like nobody's gonna hire me because I'm a dedicated actor if I'm not good. If my skill sets are not good. So get good first. Like be better. Learn.
I think a lot of people don't spend enough time working on the basics. Like you need the foundation.
You gotta have the foundation. You gotta have this foundation. You gotta have the skills, and then you use everything else. Then you get out there and you start networking and meeting people and putting your attack, your plan into place. But you gotta be able to deliver and have some type of skill set on top of that. So that's where like the training and learning and educating like truly comes into play.
Of course. At the end of the day, you gotta be able to deliver.
You gotta be able to deliver. Yeah. You gotta be able to deliver.
Awesome.
You got to. Yo, I'm mad, man. We had this. How long we been talking? Almost an hour, yeah.
Almost.
And you didn't provide me no water, no Gatorade, nothing.
Open seltzer. Right I think it's flat.
Some hot ass open seltzer. Dang. Don't treat the rest of your guests like this.
Well, AJ, thanks for coming by. Damn. This will be the last episode I ever do. It all goes downhill from here. See, perfect example though, right? I'm 80% of the way there. I learned some lessons along the way.
There's some lessons along the way.
I could look at this and possibly later cry, maybe put myself in a corner and contemplate this whole podcast thing. Or I could take what he said and say, you know what? I'm going to have Voss water out here. I'm going to have some cucumber slices in there, AC on their face, everything. And no dogs barking in the background.
Hey, people love dogs. That'll probably help. With the ratings. But you know what? You should cry about it. And be upset at yourself and then just come back tomorrow ready to work, man. It's a brand new day.
There we go. Thank you, AJ.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher and help our community grow. And if you haven't already, check out our YouTube channel and subscribe and see the day in the life of how these people put what they are talking about here into action.